Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be, and welcome to the final session of International Education Week, UNE 2024, at Universidad Noreste in Tampico, Tamaulipas, Mexico. It's been an incredible week filled with insightful sessions and engaging discussions, and we're excited to close it with a fascinating topic that blends creativity, language, and technology. Today's session is titled Freelancing, Languages and Dubbing, and we're honored to have Iris Domínguez joining us. Iris is an audiovisual translator, and we're going to welcome Iris to the stage. Today's session is titled Freelancing, Languages and Dubbing, and we're honored to have Iris. Iris is an audiovisual translator from Tampico, passionate about bringing global content to Latin American audiences. Her expertise goes beyond translation as she specializes in localization, cultural adaptation, and dubbing, ensuring that content resonates with diverse audiences. Iris is a graduate of Universidad de Relaciones y Estudios Internacionales AC, and she has collaborated with industry giants such as Deluxe, Universal, Synergia Dubbing, and Pixelogic Media. She's worked on a major project for global streaming platforms like Netflix, HBO Max, and Disney Plus, where her commitment to high quality and inclusive content shines through in her project. Aside from her work in translation, it is also passionate about accessibility, contributing to audio description from projects like Betty La Fea, Ugly Betty, and she's also involved in UX writing and creating educational video game tutorials demonstrating her versatility and dedication to enhancing user experience and storytelling. In this session, Iris will share her journey as a freelancer in the world of dubbing and audiovisual translation and provide visual insights into the skills required to excel in this dynamic and growing field. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you all to stay connected and engage through the session by using the hashtags IWE UNED 2024 and hashtag UNED tu Potencial on social media. Share your thoughts, reflections, and any questions you may have for Iris. Now, without further delay, please join me in welcoming Iris Domínguez to the virtual stage. So, Iris, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Okay, so hello, everybody. I'm Iris Domínguez, an audiovisual translator specializing in dubbing, subtitle, and audio description. And I'm very proud to say that I'm from Tampico, Tamaulipas. So today I'm excited to share my experiences in freelancing, language, and dubbing, how I got started, the skills I built, and insights into the realities of this career path. I hope my journey offers a unique perspective and inspires some of you considering a similar path. Okay, so let's begin. Starting a career in languages wasn't straightforward. I actually considered very different fields like electronics and medicine in the beginning when I was trying to choose my future career. So it wasn't until a teacher introduced me to language studies that I decided to explore this path. Okay, so in the beginning, my interest was in translating books, and I even tried to break into publishing houses. That's why I moved to Mexico City. Every day since I arrived, I would wake up every morning with copies of my resume and go knocking on doors, but I couldn't find a position in this area. Most of the time, they were looking for someone with experience. That's why I couldn't. That was such a shame, but at the end, what I call a happy accident happened. I desperately needed a job. So I took a chance on a vacancy for an assistant in the translation department of a renowned dubbing company. It felt like starting from scratch, hitting rock bottom even. My boss would constantly remind me, yes, you have a degree, but you don't have this specific skill, so you need to learn. So that's when I started from the bottom. But once I learned more about dubbing adaptation, I knew this was the field I wanted to pursue. When it comes to client relationships, I was lucky to start working with a dubbing company where I got to know people who eventually became key contacts in my career. Later, freelancing allowed me to learn multiple aspects of audiovisual translation, like subtitle, audio description, closed captions, etc. Freelancing offers flexibility. You're free to choose projects, manage your time, and be your own boss. But it also requires discipline and soft skills like client communication and time management because we're selling our services just like any other product. Okay. And I'm going to start talking about what I love the most, and this is dubbing. Dubbing, and maybe some of you know it already, but it's a process in audiovisual translation where original dialogue from a film, series, or other media is replaced with a voice recording in another language. The goal is to make it seem as if the characters are speaking in the target language, so viewers can enjoy the story without subtitles. Dubbing involves more than just translating words. It requires adapting the dialogue to match the character lip movements, emotions, and the cultural context of the target audiences. This process is called lip sync adaptation, and it's essential for making the dub version feel natural and authentic. Um, so the steps in dubbing typically include a script translation and adaptation. Translators create a script in the target language that conveys the original meaning, while adapting phrases to fit the character's mouth movements and the cultural context. And this is key, this is very important in dubbing. Um, then, once I deliver my translation, the production uh, need to cast and need to cast the voice actors that are chosen to match the personalities of the original actors or the kind of voice they have. They record their lines in sync with the on-screen characters. They record their voices inside a recording booth alongside an audio engineer and the dubbing director. So you can have this image here. That's the idea of how the recording booth looks like. Okay, finally, when they finish this part, editing and mixing, the new audio is edited and mixed into the original soundtrack, carefully aligning with the visuals so that everything flows seamlessly. So that way people can think Leonardo DiCaprio is speaking Spanish in Titanic. Okay, so that's most of it, the general idea of the process. Uh, Here I have some pictures. There we have Isabel Martiñón, voice of Naruto, and Victor Ugarte, the voice of Harry Potter. Uh, Let me continue talking about dubbing. Dubbing allows the public around the world to experience films and shows in their own language, creating a version that resonates culturally and feels as close as possible to the original. It's a complex process balancing language accuracy with the artistic goal of delivering the same emotional impact as the original performance. In dubbing, mastering lip sync and written adaptation is essential, along with making the language sound natural. Cultural nuances also play a big role. So it helps to watch dub movies and analyze how other professionals approach these challenges. A surprising challenge is adapting children content and comedy. Those are the most difficult content that we can translate as audiovisual translators, where timing, tone, and context are so specific that it becomes a real test of creativity and precision. So I have here some adaptation in Spanish dubbing, some examples of how Spanish dubbing effectively adapts content for a Hispanic public, going beyond literal translation to capture cultural nuances, humor, and the essence of the original work. So let's begin. This is a classic, the Shrek movie. So, cultural references. We have in here in Shrek, Donkey's line, "I'm making waffles." It was dubbed in Mexican Spanish as "Yo preparo los tamales." They changed it for a typical Mexican dish. Why it works? This shows how expressions should sound natural and reflect the character's personality in the new language. A literal translation or keeping the original English would feel out of place and lose the local humor completely. So yes, this is a classic. I love the Shrek movie. If you haven't watched it, you should. It's a very good example of very good dubbing. Next, we have humor and wordplay. Some of the most challenging part of my words. In Shark Tale, or AKA Espantatiburones in Latin America, they have to do a wordplay for some celebrities' names. Here I have Muscle Crow. Uh, is changed into Frank Sinatra. Why it works? Wordplay is often language specific and difficult to translate directly. In this case, we totally changed the dialogue to keep the intention, and kids could understand the joke. So this is very common for, like I said, children content. We have to change or maybe change the words to do the trick for a rhyme, maybe. So yeah, this is next, idioms and popular expressions. For example, in Toy Story 3, Buzz Lightyear switches to Spanish mode and speaks with romantic and formal expressions, almost in a comical way or in an exaggerated way. Phrases like "ay caramba" were used in Spanish dub to reflect the humorous tone of Buzz, with a telenovela-like personality, like a soap opera. So why it works? Adapting idioms helps the character feel authentic and funny to a Spanish-speaking audience. Instead of attempting a literal translation, they use expressions that fit the telenovela culture, which is familiar to the public. So most of the time, when we have a character speaking Spanish, we have to change to maybe another language. Most of the time is Portuguese, but sometimes we use accents or exaggerated manners, anything that fits the context. Okay, so it's understandable, and we don't lose the joke. Next, proper names or brands. I'm such a classic. I'm a millennial, so here I have these examples, very old examples, but very good examples. The anime Captain Tsubasa, I don't know if you know it, but was adapted in Latin American Spanish as Supercampeones. And the protagonist, Tsubasa Osora, it's Oliver Atom in the Latin American dubbing. Something similar happened with Top Cat, aka Don Gato y su Pandilla. The cat named the brain is Demosthenes in Spanish dubbing. Demosthenes was a Greek statesman and orator in ancient Athens. And this is a sarcastic note because this character stutters. So it was changed to keep this humorous note in the comedy of the cartoon. Why it works? Adapting names in the dub version depends on whether the translation adds clarity or context to the story, especially in cases where names carry cultural meanings or characteristics that enrich the viewer's understanding. Okay, this is very important in dubbing. We change dialogues or we shortening dialogues to fit the rhythm and the lip movement. In this example, the Flintstones, aka Los Picapiedra, the famous Peter's line, Wilma, I'm home, was translated into Spanish as Vilma, aquí estoy, in order to match his lip movements. Why it works? Dubbing sometimes requires adjusting sentences to align with the timing and lip movements, like I said before. The translation must be faithful, but also quick and natural, especially for iconic phrases. Because there is an O in home, they had to find a word in Spanish that also has a O like estoy. And this is like lip sync looks like. Rhythm and emotions. In this example, in Frozen, the song Let It Go was translated as Libre Soy in Spanish, with an emphasis on the word libre to capture the spirit of independence of Elsa's character. Why it works? When adapting songs and phrases containing strong feelings, dubbing must maintain the original rhythm and emotions. The choice of Libre Soy not only translates the idea, but also connects emotionally with the Spanish-speaking audience. So those were the examples I had I have today for you. There's many more, and there's many YouTube videos you can watch to learn more about these examples. There's amazing, especially in, like I said before, children content. So let's move on to workflow. For a dubbing project, time frames vary. A movie may take 1 to 2 weeks to translate, while series episodes are typically done in 3 days. More or less, I even have a project that I have to deliver in 24 hours. So there's special cases that I can take my time. So most of my work is in Word documents with a specific formatting. Although some companies like Netflix require us to work on their internal platforms. And yeah, we have to learn another software in order to work on those platforms. Over time, I developed tricks to streamline the process, like using Excel formulas for formatting and building glossaries and dialogue databases that help me complete the scripts more efficiently. These little optimizations add up and make a big difference when deadlines are tight. And believe me, deadlines are very tight. Okay, so yeah, I use tricks. Next, balancing creativity with business is always a challenge. For the creative side, I make sure to take breaks and recharge to keep my mind fresh for the adaptation work. On the business side, on the business side, tools like calendars, agendas, and even AI helped me stay on track with deadlines and budget. Um, it was something that I had to learn during my period as a freelancer because inside the company, it was something totally different. And negotiating is an art. This is very important for freelancers. Over the years, I have understood that I have a huge responsibility to my clients, and sometimes that means saying no when I'm not sure that I can deliver in time. Clients will appreciate an honest professional much more than one who prefers to ask for forgiveness rather than permission. And I learned that the bad way, the hard way, um, because freelancing is ever changing. When I was just starting out in my first year, I had a very good client. But the following year, that client didn't have any more projects. And I was left, like we say in Mexico, whistling on the hill, or high and dry in English. In the freelance world, I always dedicate part of my time to looking for new clients. This is very important because there will be a time when they need me and they call me. So it doesn't matter if I have a lot of work right now, I have to look for new clients all the time because freelancing is just unpredictable. Um, what else? What else? To stand out in the audiovisual industry, quality is essential, but so is networking. I found that attending conferences and connecting with other professionals helped me stay on top of industry trends and grow my reputation. I believe this is also very important for any field and any career. So, yeah, networking and taking new certificates, uh, learning new skills for any career is essential. And finally, diversification was key. When I first started out as an audiovisual translator, paying rent and putting food on the table was a real struggle. I couldn't exactly tell my landlord, hold on, my client might pay me in 2 months. No, I can, I couldn't, and I can. So to keep my dream alive, I combined my translation income with teaching languages and translation classes. So maybe if you're thinking about this part of the of a career as a freelancer, you need to learn to, well, at the beginning, that is a tip, you should diversify your incomes. Okay. Next is the good, the bad, and some tips. One misconception about being a freelance translator is that it's easy, that anybody that know English can do it, or that it's just watching movies all day long. Spoiler alert, it's not. It requires discipline to manage multiple clients, follow the extensive guidelines, and meet very, 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 very tight deadlines. And talking about spoilers, by the way, I got spoilers all the time. So I got used to that, to the spoilers. Okay, for students looking to enter the field, I recommend building a social media presence, joining professional groups, and attending industry events to start networking in advance. Uh, you can even start assembling a portfolio from your class projects, personal projects, my dad's business website. It doesn't matter. Everything works. So for you that are studying right now, I believe it's very important to start working on something. Whatever it is, whatever it takes, you take it for your resume, you take it for your portfolio, because everything works. All the skills are useful sooner or later. Okay. Also, there are excellent resources available, including company guidelines and certified courses in dubbing adaptation if you're interested. And yeah, I would recommend keeping up with technology trends, ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever. Just just learn it right now. Many streaming platforms have this special software similar to free subtitle programs like Subtitle Edit. And learning this can give you a head start. And the head start that could the and this head start could make the difference in the future. So guys, whatever you have now, learn it fast and learn it good. And Excel is very important. It doesn't matter what you're doing, Excel is very important. Okay, so learn everything you can. There's no other way around. For those unsure about freelancing, learning languages, I'll say it offers both financial independence and a satisfying balance between work and social life. Okay, so I highly recommend to become a freelancer. And of course, learning other languages brings versatility to any career, opening doors to cultural understanding and global connections that are precious in today's world. Okay, so yeah, those are my tips if you're interested in this field or any other field. Uh, Last but not least, I want to encourage you to take the step towards that whatever you desire, towards your dream, towards what you want to achieve. Everything worthwhile is on the other side of the effort, on the other side of fear, on the other side of the unknown. Never let an opportunity slip away. If you're afraid, do it afraid, but do it anyway. Thank you all for listening. I hope my experiences helped you as you think about your own career paths in languages, freelancing, or any field that inspires you.
Thank you so much, Iris, for that incredible presentation. Your experiences in the world of audiovisual, translation and dubbing, and your insights into the nuances of cultural adaptation and accessibility have been truly inspiring. Also, it's clear that your work is not just about translating words, but about creating connections across cultures and platforms. Now, we would love to hear from our audience. If you're joining us via StreamYard, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, please feel free to send in your questions through the chat. Iris will be happy to answer any questions you have about her career, the dubbing industry, or freelancing in the world of languages. We're excited to see your questions and continue the conversation. Remember to engage on social media using the hashtags IWEUNED2024 and hashtag UNEDTuPotencial. So let's dive into your questions.
Okay, thank you, Saul. What's been more difficult for you, dubbing or teaching languages? It's very different, and you know it. Well, dubbing is challenging, but teaching languages is another kind of challenge. I rather dub, I rather translate than teaching languages, but I believe it's very different, and I rather dub. Yeah, thank you for your question. Maybe not the case in Mexico, but can dubbing be used as a tool for censorship, subtly altering a film's themes or content to align with local social norms and values? Um, yes, I believe it has some censorship, but it's not that maybe something like we want to do. It's more like a client specific client guideline or a client specification. It depends a lot on the client, and maybe it happens, but it's more like a business matter. So it's not intentional, I guess.
I can read the question for you, Miss Iris. Miss
Okay,
Iris.
thank you.
So, do you think dubbing is for everyone, or you need any specific characteristics? Alan Michel Corona Cruz.
Okay, thank you, Alan. I think everything is for everyone if you want to do it. So if you want to get into this career, you should start with any certification, any course that you can find online. There's some, for example, Traduversia and Lingua, I believe. Those are courses. One is from Spain and the other one is from Mexico. You can start. You can start there if you really are interested in this. But the only thing is that you have to learn the basics.
Kim Soriano, how was AI disrupted your industry?
Okay, this is an interesting question because there's, yeah, it was like at some point it was like, yeah, we got to be really scared about these changes, but at the end of the day, I believe it doesn't matter because um, to adapt the lip sync, to adapt the cultural nuances, you need a human translator. You need someone that could understand the subtle reading between lines, the context. You need an human eye to look at the scene and know what is the context behind that dialogue. So, yeah, I have to deal with AI, but it's not that this is going to take my work. They're not going to replace me. But actually, let me add something here. It's very useful. AI is very useful for my job right now because I can create dialogues that are more like mechanical, like the one that you hear in like in the police radio. So it's a tool right now for me. AI is a tool.
From Mariela Bernal, where can I find dubbing courses? Could you please repeat or share a link?
Okay, a link. Well, I don't know if I can share it right now, but I can repeat the name of the courses. It was like Traduversia and Lingua for Mexico. Well, you can follow on my social media. There's some tips I share sometimes about dubbing, so you can go there. Oh, there you have some links.
I have a question for you.
Hmm.
So, when was the first time that you realized that you wanted to become like a dubbing? Uh, like, do you want it to become a dubbing? How do you say expertise? You know?
Translator.
Yeah, translator. Sorry, forgot.
Well, I studied translation, but like I said before, I wanted to translate books, and it didn't happen because I didn't have the experience because it's complicated to get in. So I was very desperate to get a job. And this is what happened. There was this vacancy. I went, and they say, okay, get in to the translation, dubbing translation world. But I started from the bottom. I didn't have the expertise. And when I was there, working with other translators, working with the actors, working with the directors, I went to the recording booth and I started watching and watching how they do the job, how they adapt, how they change the dialogues. And at that moment, I think I got in love with this specialty because it's such an art. And before I started working on this field, I didn't know how complicated it is, how much work it requires. So yeah, and also I like poetry, so it's very similar. I'm the translator of the Smurf, Los Pitufos, and there is this character that is poet, Pitufo poeta. So I have to change the dialogue all the time because he only speaks in rhymes, and it's beautiful and challenging.
Thank you so much for
You're
answering.
welcome. Thank you for your question.
This is Saul Moreno Santos Mares. Are you still interested in translating books?
I am, but I learned that right now this industry is very strong in Spain. Most of the great book houses look for translator in Spain. So I should look for, I don't know, independent book houses maybe. But right now I'm just so into audiovisual translation. I haven't talked about that in a long time. So mm, I I wouldn't say no if the opportunity comes by, but right now I'm not looking for it like in the active mode. So it's not a no. It's not a never, but
Okay, and one more last question. This is
okay.
Alan Michel Corona Cruz, and the AI is ending voice dubbing jobs in the United States. Do you think this could be also affect you in some way?
Okay, voice dubbing, yeah, it's very different, but like I said before, in like I was talking to some friends the other day, and it happened with the fax. It happened with a lot of things, computer, um, Google Translator in some point of time that yeah, we see it like a threat, but it's not. At the end, I believe we are humans, and we still need human work, and we still need human eye. And I think the clients or whoever is taking this is making this decision is going to change their mind. I don't think it's going to be like the end of dubbing. I don't believe in that.
Okay, thank you again, Iris, for sharing your invaluable insights with us today. Your passion for languages, storytelling, and inclusivity has left us all with deeper understanding of the impact that translation and dubbing have in connection to the world. As we come to the end of this session, I want to thank all of our attendees for being a part of this wonderful journey throughout International Education Week UNE 2024. Your participation and engagement have made this event even more meaningful, and we're so grateful for your presence. Before we wrap up, I would like to invite you all to mark your calendars for next year's International Education Week UNE 2025. We hope you join us again as we continue to explore global perspectives, cross cultural learning, and the power of international education to connect us all. From everyone here at the Universidad del Noroeste, thank you once for being part of this year event. Stay curious and stay engaged, and keep making the world a more connected place. Thank you and goodbye for now. Thank you again, Miss Iris.